Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? It is Gis, and I am back with another beginner's budget guide. This time we are going to do the Royal Titans. So I'm in a basic, crush weapon setup going on here. I haven't spent too much money on it. We have some ruby bolts because we have a simple little range switch that we're going to use for a couple points in the fight. It doesn't actually matter that our range accuracy is terribly high. I went ahead and went with the mixed high top and the black d'hide chaps. You could replace this with like a torso and like blood moon if you have it. You could just rock full eclipse if you have full eclipse. That's also great, but I'm doing like hyper budget. You don't even have like 2 mil to your name, right? So our current risked value is not even 1 million GP. If you have void is totally fine as well, but if you do want to just make this pretty simple, you can just camp full eclipse and just bring a small melee switch and a small magic switch and you should be good to go. So for the magic switch, I'm also keeping the super simple. Okay, super simple fix that I'm going to input here that I noticed during the fight. We're going to switch our Amulet of Strength out for an Amulet of Glory. Reason being, we need 70 accuracy. So the Amulet of Strength was putting us at 65. We instead want that 70 magic, so we never splash. So the setup will be perfectly fine. You don't have to change anything else. Just do an Amulet of Glory over the Amulet of Strength. But for the rest of the gear, it's as simple as it comes. If you have a Berserker Ring, that's fine. If you have a Light Bearer, that's fine. You can bring a Spec Weapon if you got it, but it's not in our budget. I'm keeping this like hyper budget just to get your foot in the door. If you do want to go over here and explore, try to get your prayers, especially for Iron Man. If you have a Fury, go ahead and bring that. You don't need a Blood Fury or anything like that. Obviously, wear your best setup if you got it. You do not have to prioritize Crush. They are just technically weakest to it, but it's only by 12 defense bonus difference. So not even the raw defense, just like this defensive stat. They definitely have plus 12 to stab and slash and plus 0 to crush. So you don't really have to prioritize a crush weapon. This is just like a super affordable, decent 4-tick weapon that you can kind of get as a mid-game Iron Man as well. I figured it's, easier to acquire than a whip or something like that, so I just went with the cudgel. It's probably a little bit worse, but it's not a big deal. If you have Burning Claws, go ahead and bring those. You'll rip a bunch of those specs. We're just on standard book. We're not going to do the whole, kiting out the elementals and letting them pop on their own and using thralls and trying to speedrun it. So, don't worry about that. We're keeping it super simple. And we can go ahead and talk about some mechanics of these guys. It's technically a duo boss, but you are not forced into duoing by any means. You can by all means solo this boss. It is not that bad. You'll be fighting technically 2 bosses at once, but they sort of do the same thing. It's sort of just one boss. When we run in there, we are going to be attacking whichever one. It doesn't really matter. You're going to be focusing one down so you can get into phase 2 as fast as possible. But what you're going to do is run up, get a melee hit or 2 off, depending on your timing, and then they will walk away. Once they walk away, then you will be able to shoot them with range attacks, and you have a 600% accuracy multiplier when you are shooting them with range attacks when they are either away from the middle part or they are doing their slam attack when the yin-yang symbol appears. We'll talk about that in a moment. That'll be the beginning of the fight. They will sometimes spawn fire or ice walls. All you need to do is use the appropriate spell in your spell book, preferably a wave spell. If you have the water staff, obviously you'll have water wave. So obviously water against fire and fire against the ice or water elementals, and you'll be good to go. Now, when the water and fire elementals spawn, you're going to do the same exact thing. So you can go ahead and set your autocast if you want to one of the 2 styles, or if you're in a duo, just pick the one that you are doing and stick to it, fire or water. Once you have done enough damage after you initially walk in, after you do some shooting, sometimes they'll walk up in melee. Prioritize melee where you can. Once you have one, I think it 40% damage or something like that, they'll go into phase 2, quote unquote, where they both stand still in the middle of the arena, and their attacks will sort of change, but not really. You're just going to beat one of them up. You want to try to kill them at the same time if you can. It's not 100% necessary that you do, but if you don't, then they're going to start penetrating through your prayer and hitting a little bit harder, and you don't want that. So try to kill them at the same time. That's the goal once they get into phase 2. Periodically, they will spawn a yin-yang symbol on the floor. You need to run over to that to be immune to the slam. If you would like to min-max it a little bit, you can run back and forth between the yin-yang symbol and the closest boss, one ticking between the slams. I wouldn't worry about it. I would go to the yin-yang symbol, I would put on your range gear, and I would shoot. So I have ruby boltsy. You can bring diamonds. I'm just bringing rubies because reasons. I don't know. They're probably worse, but whatever. A bolt's a bolt. If you're relying on the procs, you're not really relying on the procs. So diamonds might honestly be better, but I'm taking the chance on getting some ruby procs at the beginning, maybe making that phase 2 come up a little faster, because the faster you get into phase 2, the faster the kills are going to be, a little bit easier it's going to be. So this boss is just a little bit of gear switching. It's really not all that complicated, and you're going to camp protect melee pretty much the whole time. And other than that, it's just click boss and you are good to go. So I'm going to jump in there, and if anything comes up while I am killing the boss, then we will talk about it, but it should be fairly simple. I'm going to manual cast because I am in a solo. Manual casting will be a little bit easier for me than auto casting. Again, if you're in a duo, just pick your auto cast, stick to it, tell your partner, hey, I'm going to do fire, and then they'll do water, and you'll be fine. Preferably use a wave spell. You can use a blast spell, but you will have to two-shot the elementals if you use a blast spell, so preferably a wave, but I know blood runes are kind of annoying on an iron. It is what it is. If you get your magic bonus high enough, you might be able to one-shot them with blast, but don't quote me. Why are we on long range? Don't be on long range. So you only have to click this if you need to move to that location, right? So don't worry about clearing this unless you really need to. And then once they're in melee range, we're immediately going into melee because it's going to be more damage. So you only have to clear this if you need to, because they will naturally dissipate as well. Alright, they're about to walk away. Get some shots off. Prayer pot. Alright, so let's change into this. Let's go fire. Wait for them to group. Let's go water. Then we can get some more shots off. Alternatively, you are allowed to... you can, like, kite those out, and eventually the elementals will pop on their own. But it's easier to just, you know, deal with them. Branda should pop up. So here's the yin-yang. All I want you to do is pull out your bolts and just shoot a couple. Shoot two, and then you're back in. So I wish I would have done that on Branda, but it is what it is. I'm going to get one more hit off, and then I'm going to switch to my magic gear. And we're going to go fire on the ice. We're going to go water on the fire. I splashed. That's good. I think that's good. So I guess I don't quite have enough magic accuracy. I might need to put on this. So let's see. Do water. Move. Get a bolt off. Back into melee gear. Get in. It's only 3 slams, then you're back into melee. We get one more hit off. Then we're going to go into this. We're going to go fire. We're going to click. Get one hit off. Go range for a second. Get a bolt off. One more bolt, and then we go. Spawning more elementals. You can turn on shift click walk here if you want. Get a bolt off. Try to bolt the higher HP one if you have rubies. If you have diamonds, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure you don't kill one. Augury on just in case. So we splashed, but the slams also kill them. So you don't have to hit, technically. That's... Yep, that makes sense. Whatever just happened to me makes complete sense. Get a bolt off. Doesn't really matter if you put the prayer on that much. So I'm just going to leave these again. They'll just die to the slam. Oh, we didn't get into the ice slam, so they don't die. They'll just pop on me. It's fine. Alright, let's go over here. Try and burn those. Put on a bolt. That's debatable that I need to kill these. They will die to him, so... See if they get hit by ice. They die. So you can do it that way too. You don't have to blow them up. Unfortunately, you do have to have the slam. So if you don't have the slam, you can do it this way. And just try and get away from them. Also, just die. Unfortunately, we do have to run to this. Get a bolt off. And we got it. So... Oh, I just got the CA. If you let them kill the things, then you get that CA. So I'll do another one, and this time I'm not even going to use the magic. We'll see if I can get away with just not using magic in general, because you don't have to. you can play around with these guys a little. But using magic lets you do some switches, which is cool. We like doing switches. So none of this magic still. Now we can go into melee. Keep focusing the same guy down. You can practice your lazy flicking if you want. You have, like, ample opportunity to lazy flick if you would like. So if you keep moving, these guys eventually will blow up. And as long as you two-tile them, you don't actually get hit. As such. You lose a little bit of DPS, but you don't get hit, so, you know, whatever. They also get stuck behind the walls. That was a spawn. I'm going to run over here and hit this one, but they should be coming up now. So again, if we just move 2 tiles, and make sure we keep moving 2 tiles, when they do their thing, we shouldn't blow up. We're going to get hit by that, though. So, of course, not imperative that you do, but it is nice to practice just doing this and doing that. But of course we fucking splash, so it's all. Splashing is cool. I love splashing. Remember, higher HP one you want to try and bolt so you can get a proc. Like that. Helps a lot. One more hit. Now let's try and get a proc. Nice! I do have the diary done, so I'm going to be proccing a lot more than most people will. But Kandarin hard, I believe, if you do want that. I'm going to go ahead and put Augury on. Let's water that. And let's fire that. And let's switch back. Let's get a bolt off. Heal up. Back into melee. They should spawn in a second here. Okay, let's bolt this guy. He has slightly higher HP now. And we go back here. Let's get one more hit. And let's do this. Water on a fire. And fire on an ice. Get a bolt off on this guy. And back into melee over here. And remember, if we kill this, then those will despawn. Alright, so I'll try and show you when the stomp happens. You can do this if you would like. I mistimed it. But it's not very important that you do that. Alright, so now I'm going to call an audible. Didn't get it. Slam, hit, slam, slam, hit. And we'll go over here and finish that off too. So pretty good. And then you can just loot whichever one you would like to loot. That's sort of all there is to the Giants. I mean, you don't really have to do anything fancy. I think what I would like to do is figure out what this threshold is. So I'm going to go do a quick little Google and see what threshold we need to hit to never splash on those guys and see how I would switch this setup. If you have a duo, go ahead and use a duo. Duos are important here if your kill times are a little slow. If you are getting over double, or I guess less than half, I should say. So instead of getting 4-minute kills on average, if I'm getting less than 2-minute kills on average, and I'm still getting at least 50% contribution, at least, preferably more, but at least, then duos are going to be a little bit better for you if you're just trying to rush the prayer scrolls and get up on out of there. So anyway, this has been Gis. hope you were able to figure out the Royal Titans from this video. Not that complicated, but they do let you get a little bit active, get a little switches with your gear in there, and kind of have fun. It's a pretty good boss. I'm a big fan. I will see you next week. We are going to do a Dagannoth King's Slayer guide to kill all 3 of them at the same time to get them into rotation, so you guys don't have to waste your Dagannoth tasks if you want to be making a little bit of cash money on the side or going for pets. See you then.